What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Roger Waters and his album The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. Thank you again to Cindy, and I did want to once again indicate that once I've gone through this in the reaction format, it's certainly an album that I'm going to try to set aside some time and listen to the whole thing at once, which, given the narrative, if also surrealist structure of the album, I feel like it will, of course, make more sense, not only on a second time through, but because of the almost like stream of consciousness type of flow. In any case, the next tune is the start of the second half of the album, and presumably on a vinyl copy would be the first track on the side B, but it's Go Fishing, and it's at 4:50 a.m. So yeah, Go Fishing. Of course, you think of the physical act of going to fish, a recreational, I guess, pastime, but also the phrase can mean, keep looking, because you haven't found what you've gotten for, you haven't found what you're looking for. And of course, that can relate to the card game, so I feel like any of these things could be relevant figuratively, and of course, any of them might be relevant on multiple levels or quite literally. So, yeah, I don't really know what to make of it. It could go some different directions. But generally speaking, fishing, whether, again, more literally or metaphorically, refers to trying to find something very specific in a large situation where it's not exactly clear the location of what you're looking for. So, let's see what it is in practice and what I can pick up on first listen. This is Roger Waters. The tune is Go Fishing, which takes place at 4:50 a.m. in this temporal narrative, and it's from his 1984, am I remembering that correctly? 1984 album, I think, The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking.
As cars go by, I cast my mind's eye over backpacks and roof racks, beyond the horizon, where dream makers working white plastic processes invite the unwary to reach for the pie in the sky. Go fishing, my boy. You set out in the spring with a trunk full of books about everything. About solar devices and how nice natural childbirth is. With hangouts and trees and traveler ideas through the forest glade. We're down up the stream and the kids go their heels in the fishing pool we made. We held hands and we exchanged bands and we practically lived off the land. You adopted a fox cub whose mother was somebody's coat. You fed him by hand, and then snuggled him down in the grandfather bed while I wrote. And we grew amazed, and I only occasionally went into town to stock up on antibiotics and shelves full of shotgun that I kept around. I told the kids stories while you worked your loom, and the sun went down sooner each day. Chapter 6. Geo's birthday gives 2 presents. Here on the old grey dog that stood by the side of the street looked to himself in the mirror. Pathetic, he said. That's what it is. Good morning, he answered. Said Boo. He thought for a long time. Then the leaves all fell down, our crops all turned brown. It was over. As the first snowflakes fell, I realized all was not well in the cake. The kids caught me on kindness, the space heater. One weekend, a friend from the east brought his soul, stole your heart. I said, fuck it then, take the kids back to town. Maybe I'll see you around.
Holy crap, what a tour de force that song was. Probably my favorite on the album, just sonically / vocally. Lyrically, again, I'm struggling to keep up, but it sounds like he's telling a story about a family when he was younger. Maybe it's like a third-party anecdote, but yeah, it sounds like a family that, like, ostensibly was going fishing, but then they, like, stayed out in the wilderness and more or less lived among the land or on the land, and would only go into town, maybe just the husband or the father of the story would, like, go into town to get, was it antibiotics and shells for the shotgun that he kept around, They also like raised a fox cub whose mother was made into a coat, a particularly brutal line. But then like apparently he was like reading the books that had been in the car, I think. Like at the beginning of the story, he was like reading stories to the kids at night, and something about like the sun took longer or was like slower in setting each night. But then it sounds like at some point he thinks it's not working or maybe it's not good, so he tells, I think, the wife maybe to take the kids back to town and just, go back to like a more normal life. So seemingly like separating from them, but he remains in this kind of wilderness life. And then again, right at the end, was it like one of the kids like, bye bye, daddy, or something like that? So I really don't know all the details here, and I don't even know if what I think I caught was correct, but that's what I took away from it, that it was like a family, and again, maybe like a flashback of the guy who's been part of this story slash dreams from the beginning of the album, but like maybe that's like how he was raised, maybe he was the kid in this story, I'm not sure. Or maybe again, this is just like a vision, because again, it's like 4:50 a.m., it's a few minutes later, so yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, that's some of the aspects of this I think I caught. Sonically incredible. The first time he went up to like, Bruce Dickinson like belting for Iron Maiden, like that level of vocals, I was really taken by surprise or taken aback by that, because up until that point it kind of had this mellow blues track feel. Certainly the guitar was very bluesy at the start, but again very minimal, like Delta blues, like sort of acoustic blues. And then like an elegant piano came in, not like super prominent, not like right in the front of the track, just kind of little piano touches. That changed the vibe a little bit. It made it feel a little less, traditional blues. And then it got very like intense, like there was a degree of intensity when the vocals kicked up to another level, and then the sax. Forget about it. The sax, like what wicked and sonorous saxophone that was, and really going for it, not just like a little flourish, a short, concise little solo, but these crazy extensions and almost like going off the rails, but in a very good way. So yes, saxophone amazing, the organ very prominent, especially like in the last half or third of the tune. I was noticing the organ chords a little bit more. So yeah, like a blues, art, soul, gospel, like all somewhere with all those ingredients together. And like I said, vocals beyond I think anything we've heard on the album so far. And of course, there's been like spoken word lines, and it hasn't been like just a straightaway traditional melodic singing type of album vocally anyway. But this one I think was the most immediately impactful when it comes to the vocals. So yeah, probably my favorite on the album so far. Certainly an incredible tune to experience and behold, if you will. Thank you again to Cindy for the album. Let me know what you think of the tune, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.